Hey guys, our devotions for today is from Psalms chapter 4. This is the fourth lesson in our AMP Devotionals. A couple of difficult words right off the bat. From verse number 1 is the word righteousness. It's a word we use a lot in church, but just wanted to make sure that everybody knew what we were talking about. The word actually means rightness, following God, being obedient to God, doing what God commands, righteousness. Verse number 2, the word Selah. I mentioned this last lesson. The word actually just means stop and think about what I'm saying, what I just said. Verse 4, the word meditate. I've mentioned this in youth group a couple of times. The word meditate doesn't just mean sit with your legs crossed and clear your mind. The way that the Bible uses the word meditate, it actually means to think about it or talk to yourself about what's going on. Verse number 6, the last word is the word countenance. Again, not a word we use very often, but the word actually means... Okay, so what is this chapter talking about? Psalms chapter 4. Once again, we see King David, who wrote this chapter. He's in a difficult situation, seemed to get a lot of that in his life. He starts the chapter off by asking God to hear him when he prays. And then he reminds himself, and he reminds us, that God has answered his prayers in the past. And he asks God again to hear him and to answer this prayer too. He says, listen, God, please hear my prayer. God, I know you have answered prayers in the past, and so I'm asking you to answer this prayer too. Then he switches who he's talking to, and he asks a question to the people around him. Remember, these people, they're trying to steal the kingdom from David, as well as trying to kill him. He asks this rhetorical question, so he doesn't actually expect an answer. He just wants the people to think about what he's saying to them. He says, how much time are you going to waste trying to make me look bad, trying to take the good stuff that I had done and make it look like nothing? How much time are you going to waste living your life with no purpose and loving lies? And then he ends by saying Selah. Again, he wants the people to think about that. He's not just asking them a question he wants them to answer right away. He's saying, think about what I'm asking you. Think about how much time you're going to waste loving lies, looking for lies, wasting your time, having no purpose in your life. David reminds them, and again, he reminds himself, that God sets apart the people that live like him and live for him. God takes those people that are trying to be obedient to him, that are trying to follow him, and he sets those apart. What does that mean? Think about it like brushes. In your house, you may have a paintbrush, a hairbrush. Some people have a scrub brush for cleaning. Maybe you have a toilet brush. But you probably only have one toothbrush. Hopefully and probably the only thing you use your toothbrush for is brushing your teeth. You're not scrubbing your toilet. You're not brushing your hair with it. Also, it probably doesn't matter too much to you if you drop your hairbrush in the garbage by accident, or if the toilet brush falls into the toilet. You just pick them up and you keep using them. Well, hopefully, since your toothbrush is set apart for brushing your teeth, you don't just brush your teeth and then when you get done you just chuck it on the floor. Doesn't matter. I don't care. Hopefully you're taking very good care of it because it is set apart for brushing your teeth. You get done, you put it in the toothbrush cup or wherever you keep your toothbrushes, and you take very good care of it. You protect it and you watch it. You don't want somebody using it to clean the floors or something like that. Those that live for God, we that live for God and that God can use, he sets apart. He takes care of us. He protects us and he provides for us. Then David reassures himself that God would hear him, that God would hear David when he prayed to him. David looks at himself and he thinks about how he's responding to the people that are not treating him right. He reminds himself how he should be responding. First he says, when someone's treating me wrong, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be angry when someone does something wrong to you. But what David says is, be angry and don't sin. This is the part that's hard for us. When someone does wrong to us or tries to hurt us or blame us for something we didn't do, our first reaction is usually we want to hurt them back. David reminds himself and he reminds us that when you get angry, don't respond in sin. We talked about this at youth group. You can't control other people and how they act. You can only control yourself and how you respond to them. So how do we be angry and not sin? He gives us actually some good steps right in verses 4 and 5. First, you get alone. David says he was in his bed, he was on his bed alone. He got He got away. If you feel like you're going to lash out, you're going to lose your temper, sometimes you need to just walk away. Just walk away, get alone, take some time to think. The second thing he did is he said he meditated. Again, this isn't just clearing your mind and chanting. It's thinking about the situation. He says he meditated within his own heart. He talked to himself. In his mind, he thought about the situation. He thought about how he could respond to this person. We need to think about how we can respond to the person in a way that pleases God and in a way that will be good for you too. Because you probably know that when you react to someone, if someone does wrong and you snap at them, then you're probably going to get in trouble too. So, and the third thing rather, is be still. Again, this means taking the time, not responding, not lashing out right away, but taking time to think through the situation before you respond. See if you were wrong. Maybe the person is acting wrong, trying to wrong you because you wronged them, and maybe that's something you need to deal with. Then David says, listen, offer sacrifices of righteousness. It might seem like a weird phrase or a weird place to put it, but David is saying, listen, respond with the right attitude. Responding with the right attitude in the right way is a sacrifice. It's giving up your natural desire to punch someone in the mouth, maybe to scream at them, giving up that desire, making that sacrifice to do what's right and please the Lord. We do that because we can trust in the Lord. We can trust that God will take care of his people, those that are following him. He'll punish those that do wrong to his people, that do wrong to those that are trying to follow God. Just like a parent would say, hey, don't hit your sister if she hits you. I'll take care of you. I'll take care of that. I'll deal with the situation. I'll punish them for doing wrong to you. David ends the chapter by saying, listen, there's many people that have been wronged by others. He makes a final request to God, not just to guard them, but also to bless them. Right? Not just to protect them, but also to bless them. He ends by saying that in spite of the trouble and the difficult situation he's in, he's been able to not just avoid sinning when he is angry at these people, but he's been able to find happiness and peace even though others are trying to harm him. He found the happiness and peace in God, knowing that because he was following and living for God, that God would protect and take care of him. So how do you respond when someone tries to do something wrong to you? When they try to get you into trouble or for something you didn't do? When they spread lies about you or say hurtful things to you? Again, I know your natural reaction and my natural reaction is usually to want to physically hurt them, scream at them, emotionally hurt them, try to get them to cry, try to get them to feel bad, maybe to do mean things back. Maybe we're going to spread lies about them to get back at them. However, if you want to be able to have peace, be able to be happy in those difficult times, that only comes through being obedient to and following God. If you're feeling angry and like you're going to lash out at someone, follow the